we have almost reached the end. It's day 30. There's just one more day after this for RPG A Day 2018. And it's been a lot of fun. Pretty interesting responses out there overall, but we'll talk about that later. Today's question, not an alternate question, an official question, is about sharing something that we have learned about playing our own character. Share something you've learned about playing your character. And I think that there's a lot to talk about here, about how you play. All kinds of different answers will be possible. And I know the people out there whose knee-jerk reaction is to say, yeah, but I'm the game master. I'm always the game master. I never get to play a character. I just ask you to consider what the C is in NPC and who owns it. So anyway, here we go. Something that I have learned about playing characters. Well, the first step of this is to choose a single character. All right. So a lot of the characters that I'm playing these days are actually pretty well represented in the reflections and recap videos that I post when I play online, which is where most of my characters exist, is in online play. But I do have a play by email character, and this is in a Leagues of Gothic Horror campaign, where we portray agents of the Ministry of Unusual Affairs. And I play this character who goes by the name of Nathaniel Ribbon. This is, of course, not his real name, and canonically, we haven't established any kind of real name at all. The character lives under aliases and has always done so. The character was groomed from a very early age to represent Her Majesty's government as a spy. And so, it is this nature of being a spy, being motivated by duty, and having two, what I consider to be interesting flaws from Ubiquity, being loyalty and curiosity, that the character for Nathaniel Ribbon was built. And the point of this video, something that I learned, was not just simply portraying the character's archetype, portraying the character's flaws. It's that moving from that basis, from that foundation, what is the character really? How do those particular elements mix this time to create this character that is distinct from another character? Well, we're playing this game, as I mentioned, in email. So I've got a very, very accurate record of play. I can just simply go back and read it. And one thing that I noticed after, it was somewhere in the second or maybe the third session story, that I noticed that I flipped between referring to the character as Nathaniel and referring to the character as Ribbon. And I had paid special attention to the name that we were going to use as the character's name, right? And I had specifically chosen a name from the point of view of a name that the character would pick. So I come up with the name Nathaniel for this purpose. Nathaniel is another one of those names that means God's gift, or gift of God, has been given by God. Who and why would choose such a name? So you could take this as arrogance, you could take this as religious fervor, and so on and so forth. But I left the reason a little ambiguous to myself. Is this the character's view of how they want to portray themselves, the type of person, the type of mask that they're putting on? Or is this a hint or a view or a subconscious thought about the job itself, that the opportunity, he sees the opportunity to serve his country. He's motivated primarily by duty. The opportunity to serve his country is this kind of gift. Maybe the character himself doesn't really know, but this is the name that he's chosen for himself. And then the surname, Ribbon. Well, this character is laboring under no illusions about the challenges of fulfilling one's duty to the Empire. The character begins play, having recently escaped from imprisonment as a spy in a foreign country because of betrayal by his own handlers within the agency that he worked, the Department of Naval Intelligence. So, due to a shift in politics and so on and so forth, he's out in the cold. Once he understands how this all worked, he escapes from prison, gets back to England, and blackmails his former handlers into getting him a position where he can serve more as watchdog over other treasonous activities, the Ministry of Unusual Affairs. And so, play begins with our spy still recovering from the terrible deprivations that he experienced in prison, and clinging tenaciously to the opportunity to serve, to stand between the citizenry and those who would betray them or commit acts of treason. Pretty cool way to start. But I noticed, as I mentioned, I kept switching between Nathaniel and Ribbon. Ribbon representing the tatters of his view of his duty. He has managed to turn it into something that he considers to be beautiful and valuable. Ribbons serve an excellent purpose. But what used to be there was a much broader tapestry. So why would I be switching? And why would I be doing this unconsciously? Not just alternating for the sense of wanting to maintain variance in text, but actually alternating by scene. Sometimes Nathaniel, sometimes Ribbon. Not always accurately in the beginning, maybe still not now, but generally speaking, in certain scenes, the character wanted to be referred to as Nathaniel. In other scenes, the character wanted to be referred to as Ribbon. And what I've explained is my growing sense of how this character wants to be expressed, building on the foundation I built for it from the system. When acting as the spy, when acting as the agent, when acting against treason, it's Ribbon. When taking control, when exerting his rank or using his authority, it's Ribbon. When trying to connect with people, when using contacts, when, portraying some human face, it's Nathaniel. The character goes deeper than that even, because when the character is out among strangers, they're described as very charming or witty, or they've got the social graces, they smile, they laugh, they make jokes, they interact with people in a fully human manner. And when among loyal and trusted friends, he's a blank slate, portraying nothing, simply communicating. And that might seem odd or reversed, but this is the character reaching out and being honest and saying, this is all there is. There's nothing more. There's just duty. That's all that's left to me. I think that's kind of interesting, because this was not my intention for the character at all. But the character had other ideas.